So I kind of have this secret. Well, it's not really a secret, but one of my favorite weapons in the kitchen is actually a wok. Let me introduce you to my carbon steel wok. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you've already seen this thing. I did a review about 2 years ago on this specific wok. A carbon steel wok is one of the best things you can buy for your kitchen. It's so versatile. And I can't tell you how much I love this wok. It's probably the one item that I can't live without. And if I was stranded somewhere and I can only have one pan, whatever, it would be my carbon steel wok. The seasoning is coming in pretty nicely. It's not quite dark black like my Matford or my DeBuyer or DeBoyer Mineral B, but it's getting there. It doesn't get used quite as much as my other carbon steel pans. I think I use my wok maybe once, maybe twice a week because I have so much cookware that they're constantly in rotation. But I can do anything in this wok. I can deep fry, stir fry, cook a steak. The only thing that I can't do with this particular model is put it in the oven because the handles are made out of wood. And recently when I got the Hexclad package, as you guys know, I've done a review on Hexclad. It came with a wok and it's great. There's nothing wrong with it. The Hexclad wok seems fine, but there was something off. And with my carbon steel wok, I don't know, it just performs really well. It's really thin, so it heats up really fast and you have enormous heat. And when you're stir frying, in general, you want really high heat. It's constantly just, going through, cooking your food, cooking things really, really quickly. So let me tell you why you should consider getting a wok. So this particular model that I have here is Helen Chen. I know in my original review and my 6-month updated review, I think I called it Helen and Chen a couple of times, but yeah, it's Helen Chen. It's a readily available wok on Amazon, fairly cheap. I think it's about, I want to say $30 when I bought it. It's probably higher now. Everything I've recommended from 3 years ago has gone up in price. So I think it's probably around 40, 45. And then there's another great brand, and I think that one's Taylor & Ing, and that one's great too. But really the Helen Chen is pretty much comparable. Now it stood up to the test of time really, really well, but there's a few things that I've noticed, but they're not bad at all. First off, the main handle is solid. It hasn't went anywhere. Those rivets are solid. There's constantly a lot of weight here, and there's no flex whatsoever. The helper handle, the wood, is just a bit wobbly. I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't affect fit, form, or function in any way. I think it's just the heat cycles, or maybe it was probably my fault. Maybe I got a little too close to the flame and it caused a little bit of warping on the helper handle. But again, it's not slippery. I mean, it barely moves. I'm really nitpicking. The other thing is it's not quite as large as the competitors. I think it's a 14-inch wok. It's a little smaller, but still, for a family of 4, it feeds us just fine. There's no issues whatsoever. Because it has wood, you can't use it in the oven, so that would be my only regret, quote unquote. But I don't think I've ever had to use it in the oven because, again, I have other cookware. I have my carbon steel skillets and cast iron, my stainless steel. So I have this specifically for a specific task. But if you're buying a wok to do it all, maybe consider getting one that's all metal. Now, when it comes to woks, I highly recommend carbon steel woks. I know they make cast iron woks. I know they make stainless steel woks, but those materials can act dramatically different. And I found that carbon steel is that sweet spot. It still retains a lot of heat, but it's thin enough to get hot really quick. And with woks, it's all about fast cooking, right? Turning up the heat, really giving it all, and making sure that wok is red hot and cooking things quickly. Of course, you don't always need to cook everything quickly. You can dial down the temperature if you're cooking something sensitive. But generally speaking, you want to have the ability to just put this thing on overdrive and get going. So with stainless steel, I've found that they're usually way thicker than they need to be. And then if they make them too thin, then they tend to warp. And then you also do get some sticking. With stainless steel, you have to be a little bit more mindful. They're less forgiving. You don't want that with the wok. You want to be able to just go and, get everything going quickly. So I don't really prefer stainless steel. And then with cast iron, it's way too heavy. It's hard to handle. It's hard to flip. It's very expensive because it's thicker. It's, more material. And I just feel like carbon steel gives you all of the benefits of stainless steel and cast iron with a really simple design that's going to last you forever. So personally, I would go with carbon steel. But of course, you can do whatever you want. Now, most of you are going to say, hey, do you really need a wok to do stir fries? Of course not. You can stir fry with a 12-inch skillet or a 14-inch skillet, but with the wok, it's just so much easier. And of course, woks can do a lot more. It's not just stir fry. There's a reason why they're so popular. So if you're making a lot of food for a large group or gathering or a family, or if you just want to do a lot of different things, again, if I could only have one skillet, one cookware, it's the end of the world, my carbon steel wok would be my personal choice because I can do anything. Fry, deep fry, sear a steak, whatever. I can do it and I can feed a large group. So there are a few things you got to look out for when you are using a wok if you're new to wok cooking. If you're specifically picking carbon steel, then you got to do everything that a carbon steel pan or skillet needs. It's no different. You got to season it, you got to prepare it when you first get all the manufacturing grease out. And I like using the potato peel method since you can't put this in the oven, and that usually seasons it really, really well. But also, you got to also keep in mind that because it's carbon steel, it can rust, it's prone to rust, so you want to develop that seasoning. You never want to leave it out soaking or anything like that. Dry it immediately and store it away. Just like your carbon steel mat fur or deboyer or whatever, got to treat it the same way. Another thing you got to do is, depending on what you're cooking, but if you're doing a traditional stir fry or fried rice or anything like that, think quick. You got to cook quickly. You want high heat. You want to be able to get going, move quickly. So preheating your pan and preheating your oil, and then throwing things in and stir frying really quick on high, constantly moving the food. That's kind of like the wok technique. But also your stovetop really matters, and the type of wok that you buy really matters. They make flat bottom woks and they make round bottom woks. Round bottom woks require a wok burner to get the most out of it. They do sell like conversion little like round bottom wok plates and other things, so you can use your conventional, Western stovetop. But generally speaking, it's not the same experience. Because it's a round bottom, you want those flames from a wok burner. Generally speaking, actually, with any wok, flat or round bottom, you want those flames to touch the walls, the sides, to get that wok burn, that wok halo. And yeah, getting a round bottom when you need a flat bottom will make a huge difference and will frustrate you. So get the right wok for your stovetop. My dream is to one day have a wok burner dedicated in my kitchen when we get our dream kitchen. And I'm not talking about like a single butane. I'm talking about the 3-4 butane, sticking out that will basically get you that wok halo. Probably dangerous. I got to really look up code for that. But if I can't do it inside, I'm going to do it outside. I can't tell you how great it is to cook on an actual round bottom wok using a proper wok burner. It's another experience. So that's something that, is a dream of mine. If you're going to go induction, you can still use a wok for induction. You're not going to get the same results again because you want to go up on the walls, but you can still use it. It's doable. Electric, still doable. But yeah, just keep in mind, you're probably better off if you're using a gas stovetop. So maybe woks aren't for everybody. Consider your application and what you're going to use it for. Now, we all love to do the wok flip, right? Start flipping things in the air. And with woks, it's actually a little bit more forgiving if you have a traditional wok burner or if you have like a heavy duty gas stovetop, because again, the flames are always hitting the wok. It's going up the sides and things like that. You got to remember, you need to be on the heat source. If you're getting the heat, then you're cooking. If you're not on the heat, you're not cooking, right? So got to make sure your temperatures are up. And every time you do a flip, even though it looks cool, if it's unnecessary, you're cooling down your pan. With woks, I think a lot of people make the mistake of, they got a wok. They've seen, their favorite restaurant using a wok, or watch some videos of people using a wok and think, oh, sweet, I'm going to start flipping and I'm going to get a wok spatula. I'm going to do all that, good stuff. But they don't have the stovetop for it. And then their wok gets way too cold, way too cool. And then they start realizing, well, hey, wait a minute, this thing isn't really giving me great results. And it's actually kind of finicky, when in reality, it's not. It's the tools that you have. So just keep that in mind. Keep your flips to a minimum. In general, you should keep your flips to a minimum. Some common accessories that I recommend: definitely get a wok spatula. Get one that has a wide mouth. Try to get one in stainless steel, something that's not going to rust, that's going to last forever. And then maybe get a book. I've recommended some books in the past, but there's a great book by Grace Young, and she really does a good job of getting you started, giving you some great recipes, and also has some really good advice on wok care and maintenance. And I think it's fairly cheap. I think it's like under 15, maybe 20 bucks. So to get started, at least, get a good spatula, wide mouth spatula, and get a book just to kind of guide you initially. You don't have to worry about scratching up your wok. You don't have to worry about damaging it. There's no coating on here. There's nothing like that. The seasoning may scratch when you're using the spatula, but it's going to come right back. You're constantly using high heat with woks, and make sure you use high smoke point oil so you don't smoke up your house, but you're constantly repairing that seasoning. So don't worry about abusing it. And if you use it a lot, it's going to get super dark. It's going to last you forever. It's funny, I'm always talking about cast iron, carbon steel, and stainless steel, and how cast iron is so popular with American families, American culture, and carbon steel is more popular overseas in Europe, and they're both treated as family heirlooms that are passed down to generations. Well, woks are no different, but they're very popular in Asian countries, and they're passed down and cherished just like cast iron skillets and carbon steel skillets. They're used, they're abused, but they're also loved and cherished and given to family members to generation after generation, and they stand the test of time. So if you're going to take care of your wok, it's going to take care of you. That's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video informative, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.